Check 1, 2, check. There we go. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Good to be back. My name is Dean. On location this week. This is old school radio terminology. On location. We're on location.
Where are you? That's a guitar behind you.
Why can't I hear your microphone?
Oh.
Yeah, maybe want to turn it on. It's a good way to start the podcast. I should have said something before you started. Love the fuck Trudeau hat, by the way. That is a hot look this morning.
Audio.
Yeah. There you go. Just get the microphone going and you're good to go. That's all you got to do. Why
is it not working?
I don't know. Is it plugged in? Maybe something we should have tested. No, not even close.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I'll wait. I've got nothing. Well, there he goes. I love it. Anyway, here he is again, ladies and gentlemen. Lock and Cross 957 Cruise FM and Edmonton. No, you're still. I still can't hear you very well. That's all right. I can wait, dude. I'm just having a bubbly, waiting to do a podcast with you. We're going to talk about Rob Schneider. We got big Rob Schneider news. Canceled his Canadian tour. One show no one can seem to find because of all the Nazis. That'll be fun to talk about today. We'll also talk about not just Rob Schneider. We'll talk about other people who seem to have issues with this beautiful country of ours and the stupidity of bringing a Nazi into the House of Commons. Let's see if this works. Gentlemen, Locke, you there?
All right. Well, I should be here now.
No, not a chance. But that's okay. Dude, don't worry about it. I can still hear you.
What are you talking about? You can hear me.
I can still hear you. You're just coming through your headphones. Yeah, or is it plugged into your computer?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, you sound fine.
Hang on. Which audio?
Ladies and gentlemen, high test podcasting, Yeti X. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better. You got it now. You crushed it. Yeah. Yeah, you pressed the right buttons. We're in business. Nice to see you. Yeah. You okay today? You just got off the radio. You a little verklempt. I know it was a big rush because you had to walk the dog, and I'm moving times around, so I can't even blame you for not having your microphone working. It's probably my fault, or at least you'd like to blame me for it.
No, that's not your fault. I on Thursdays we meet with my boss. We have the old radio air check. So he will listen through the course of the week and then jot down some notes about things he likes and doesn't like, and then we go over that on Thursdays. And this is something that sort of pushed back my day a little bit. And then I was at a beer, so I had to go to Costco. Made a quick sandwich, and then you called and said, We're going live. We're going live a little early because I got a 1:30 today or something like that.
Yeah, I got a meeting in 45 minutes. We got a lot of stuff to pack in. I want to talk about Halloween. I want to talk about radio a little bit because you just mentioned air checks, and I got a funny air check story for you. I'm going to tell you that. Rob Schneider not coming to Canada. I don't know if you covered that this morning on your radio program, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton, because of all the Nazis. Are you not allowed to? Are you not allowed to talk about the Nazi stuff? Are you not allowed to talk about this?
No.
Have you guys been talking about it on the radio?
Yes, it's been more of a news thing, like a news presentation thing. The thing that I keep saying is, listen, we need to take a step back and look at this without the political lens. This is what I've been trying to do.
Yeah,
and I got to do this because I have an extreme hatred for the leader of our country, and that's not me advocating for the next guy or another party. I really don't like
this. It's amazing how many people think it is, though, right? Like, I know you're not a Trudeau guy. I'm not a politics guy. I hate both of them. I hate our political parties. I think they're just businesses meant to steal your money. That's it, and your brain. But it's amazing when you call out somebody, because this was a massive mistake bringing a Nazi into the House of Commons, and it's like, it's incompetence. It's underhanded.
Stupid.
It's disgusting. It's culturally and genocidally fucking gross. Like what we did. It's just stupid. And we've all said that. And it's amazing how when you say that, how many people on that side still somehow find a way to defend Justin Trudeau's government here. And then on the other side of it, when you try to offer context, it's amazing how many people are like, I can't believe that you like Justin Trudeau. It's amazing how when you have an opinion, they'll put you in one camp of who you like and another camp of who you don't, depending on what it is you said and depending on what it is that person did. But that's just the state of our union. We're just full of stupid people right now.
Well, and I think it's the state of politics and culturally where we're at right now. I've got some context because I've been trying to figure. I don't necessarily agree with your view of our world, that if you believe certain things, you're cognitively compromised and that you're an idiot.
We have shirts for that, by the way, at the store. Yes. If you go to crier.co, you go to the shop, you can say stupid people are the new pandemic. We got hats, white, black.
Don't necessarily.
We got baby doll tees. Stupid people are the new pandemic. You can buy those there too, and they're like $20. It's the price point, barrier to entry to say it without saying it has never been lower. Just go to the Crier shop. But I know you don't share that sentiment. Yes.
No, I don't, because I think there's more to it. And listen, maybe there is an intelligence factor to it, but I've had time to think about it over the last couple of years. I'm trying to understand why people get triggered for certain things.
Over the last 2 years.
Couple years. I've been thinking about it. Why are these people so they think so polarly opposite to me or other people in the world? Okay, now I heard something that was quite interesting, and it was actually, it came out of Joe Rogan's mouth. I was listening to an interview that he was doing, and it's ironic coming from Joe, because I think Joe has slipped a little bit on his self-awareness, and his lack of humility has bothered me in the last couple of years. But I think that's a product of him being attacked and people going after him because of, his success and whatnot. So I think he's pushed back a little bit. And sometimes it's viewed as misogynist and ugly and forced, and it's hard to listen to. He had a podcast the other day about, I don't know why everybody just doesn't get over the COVID thing, and I'm like, holy shit, what are you talking about,
dude? That was his thing for a long time. Like up until last week, it was his thing.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how unself-aware are you that you think that everyone else won't let it go? I mean, my God. Anyway, he made a statement, and I think there might be some semblance of truth to what he was saying. He was talking about people that jump into the conspiracy pool waters and that are so, like, they side with it, and they side with it so hard that they're doing it online. They're doing it on, at work. They're that guy that won't shut up about Trump and he's saying that a lot of the people that he knows that are in that world, in that camp, and they can't shake it, had something traumatic happen to them. Where their business went under. They had their wife left them sleeping with their best friend.
Got to blame someone. Yeah.
They got fired from. They have become the victim because things didn't work out the way they wanted them to. And so they find solace in trying to uncover or unearth things that aren't necessarily correct in the world. And they'll go after everything, even if there's just a small thread of it. So it's
called the life raft theory. But yeah, we'll go back to that. I think it's a great point.
Yeah. And again, I think there might be some truth to it. I mean, and again, it's just me searching for things, and that jumped out at me because I know a couple of people that are like this, that are wired like this, and I don't talk to them much anymore. But the handful of them, as soon as he mentioned that, I was like, oh. So-and-so, yes, so-and-so, yeah, like damaged people. Yeah. The other thing that I heard from a listener this week, and God love him, his name is Sean, and Sean goes after us all the time, and I believe he listens to the locker room because we actually allow the conversation to happen every once in a while. And he doesn't agree with us very often or ever, and wants to point out things like this morning, for instance. We were talking, he always looks for an opportunity to text the show and tell us about the world that we live in from his viewpoint, which is distorted, in my opinion. We were talking about the fact that 184,000 people have moved to Alberta in the last year. And it is the largest increase of population growth in Alberta since the early 80s. Canada is increasing in population faster than all other G7 countries. We're growing. It is becoming a destination for people around the world. Not only that, people are moving to Alberta from other parts of the country in droves, okay? And there's reasons behind that. Obviously, it's cost of living. Young families are coming here.
There's quality of life. Listen, as someone who lives in Toronto, the quality, and I spent a little time out west a couple of weeks ago, quality of life out west, significantly better than the GTA in almost every material capacity, to your point. Yes.
So anyway, and I said to him when he texted me this morning, he said, yeah, but you're forgetting something. People are coming here because they appreciate that they're escaping the overly woke Eastern provinces, and they're coming here because of Danielle Smith's policies and her approach. And I texted him back, and I was serious about this. I said, Sean, you've said some pretty ridiculous stuff to me.
Yeah.
And I've read some pretty stupid texts from you. This, hands down, is the dumbest. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Sean said to me earlier this week, when I asked him, I said, have you thought about getting help? That's our relationship. Because I think you might be mentally ill, was one of my comments. And he responded,
all you're doing is throwing logs on my stupid people or the new pandemic fire right now, by the way. But continue. Go ahead.
So shortly after I told him that he might be mentally ill and that it would be in his best interest to get some help. And I sent him a link to a number he can call for free counseling. Yeah. This is the kind of person
you need someone that speaks your language. Here's Kids Help Phone, Sean. Here you go, bud.
Anyway, so he responded and he said, I just disagree with anything and everything woke and liberal. Doesn't matter what it is.
Smart.
And when I told him he might be mentally ill, was when he was suggesting that that Russia and Putin had a right to go into Ukraine and fight the Nazis.
Oh, and murder women and children? Oh, yeah, the Nazis, back to the Nazi generation.
So anyway, I think there's an element of that in society where if it represents this overly woke in their minds, this woke thing, this liberal thing, they're going to push back on it. And I think we need to try to find ways to alleviate that in society. I think we need to try to find ways to jump past that, because that kind of thinking is it's destructive.
Oh, it's fucked. It's fucked. Like that's just preventative thinking. And that is like that goes into, when a guy says or anybody says, I'm just not going to listen to or believe anything these people say, regardless. Doesn't matter what
it is.
I'm just going to, out of principle,
the Russian war,
not believe. Totally. So
I am on side with Putin.
Let's use that as an example because we're supporting Ukraine.
Crazy.
That means I'm on the side with Putin and Russia. And dude, they get that gas from a bunch of places, and I'll tell you where they get it from: Telegram, social media, Facebook. The misrepresentation, disinformation about Nazis in Ukraine, and Ukraine is a Nazi state, and they're pedophiles. They eat they eat babies, and they farm children's organs and all this other stuff. All of those things have been coming out of Russia for I don't know how long. Like 20 years, ever since Putin was the dude. Because what they do is they got three things that they use as a cudgel: Nazism, pedophilia, and who the fuck knows? There's a litany of other ones. Those are the two big ones. And what are the two big names you get called all the time? If you agree with anything a liberal or Justin Trudeau and anybody in his government says, you get called a Nazi sympathizer now. Mm-hmm. You get called a pedophile supporter. I've been called that 100 times. We did 10 million impressions just on Twitter yesterday. And I can't tell you how many of those came with the word pedophile, Marxist, all the other stuff. And it's just a steady diet, this steady stream from people who feel the same way your boy Sean feels, right? Which is like, hey, listen, I'm such a hardened asshole. I've shut off my learning brain, and I'm just going to go after it now. I'm like a fire hose of stupidity because I don't want anything to do with those people. And all that says to me is stupid people are the new pandemic, dude. You can talk about mental illness all you like. You can talk about emotional illness all you like. But it is a stupid person's response to say, I am unwilling to learn about anything or listen to anybody, and I'm just going to line up in this line. You talk about sheeple, that's fucking sheeple, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to line up in this line, and I'm going to tell everybody, fuck you. We got the same people on the left doing it. We got the same people on the right doing it, and they can all blow me because those are stupid people, which is why we have shirts, which you can get for $20 right now at crier.co. If you head into the shop, I'd love to sell you.
That's my point.
Yeah.
My point being, I was shocked at the vocalization of it. It's one thing to defend a point. You know, I disagree with you on this point. La 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 la. Let's go down. Let's have a discussion. It's another thing to tell me, here, I'm drawing a line in the sand, Locke. If it smells woke, I'm going to be against it.
Yeah.
I'm not even that's
dude,
where we are.
But it goes back to the pejorative, right? Like the word woke means to be physically, mentally, and emotionally aware of social and racial injustices. Is what it means. That's the fucking definition of the word. And so if a guy says that to me, first of all, he's stupid because he doesn't know the identity of the word. Because if he knew the actual meaning of the word, he'd say, hey, dude, everybody's into that. Standing up for the marginalized and being actively aware of racial and social injustices, right?
But then we muddy the waters by gaslighting.
Well, hold it. But if the thing is for a lot of people, and that's not just gaslighting, that's like fucking stealing the word. Oh, dude, he does it all the time, too. Yeah. But that's stealing the word. That's telling everybody this is what you are. They did the same thing with the word conservative. It's a pejorative word now, too. How many people do you know that have a conservative in their bio? Just the bots, the trolls, and the people who are really fucking stupid. Same thing with liberals. Liberal till I die. Saw that in the bio. Someone that told me to go home and harm my children the other day. Liberal till I die. Now, we don't even know where most of these things come from, right? Like, you can say that these people are liberals. You can say these people are conservatives. You can say they're right. You can say they're left. But 80% of the traffic that we see that shit posts us on social media isn't from here, dude. Yeah. Like they're not Canadian accounts. They're not real people. They're foreign bot troll related accounts. They're literally bought and paid for. People like Canada Proud do it. Dude, the Democratic Party in the United States did it. They got caught doing it the other day, stealing this Republican girl's profile picture, starting a profile around her, had tens of thousands of followers. Like, that's what people don't understand, is none of the shit that you see online is real. And anytime you go and talk to somebody, like you pick up the phone and you call people, you text people back, you have legitimate phone calls, you have legitimate conversations with people in your life, right? About this thing. I rarely have legitimate conversations about any of this stuff in real life because it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter in real life how someone feels about who they're going to vote for or what they think about the pejorative word woke or what they think about Justin Trudeau. No one has those conversations at a fucking coffee shop standing in line waiting to get a venti whatever oat milk. We don't do that in real life. Well, have you seen it? Like you see it on social media? So the whole idea that we are divided people, physically a divided people, we're only a divided people online, and 80% of that's bullshit. Like 80% of the traffic that you see on X now, which, by the way, I don't know if you read the news. The European Union just told Elon Musk, you have more Nazi radicalized disinformation and hate speech on your platform, get this, than any platform in the EU, including Telegram, which is the Russian drug of choice when it comes to social media. Elon Musk. So EU just told him, you clean it up in a month or we're banning it. And they're banning it for a reason. They're banning it because it is literally a fire hose of bullshit. And that fire hose of bullshit is a perception war. It has nothing to do, like literally nothing to do with real life. And all you have to do, dude, I've been downtown Toronto for the past 4 days. Doing some work, meetings, come downtown. We're trying to do a whole bunch of different stuff. I don't want to get into it. It doesn't even matter. Every meeting that I've had, every single meeting that I've had, not one person has asked me about my vaccination status. Not one person has asked me who I'm going to vote for in the next election. Yeah. Not one person has said anything about our content where they're like, well, we can't do that. We can't work with you because you believe in the greater good. Not one person Not one in every single meeting that we had. I went out for dinner the other night. I got a function tonight with a client. I'm going to go there. I have no fear because I know that the public square in real life has nothing to do with the bullshit that we see online. Like absolutely fucking nothing.
I had a moment this week where I was on Twitter and I was reading a fight between Ed the Sock and Theo Fleury. And
you see that?
And I was reading it and I was like, what is he doing? Like, first, you're Ed the Sock.
Which one? Ed the
Sock. I'm like, why are you? Theo Fleury's past the point of redemption, right? Yeah, like 100%. He's gone. Like that.
Yeah, that's full on conspiratorial QAnon crazy pills.
He
thinks he
gone.
Put out a tweet the other day. He's like, dinosaurs don't exist. There are no dinosaurs in the ground.
So he's beyond help, right? Like, and trying to sit down and forget what his motivation is, or trying to figure out what his motivation is, I think is pointless. But I was like, I kind of know the Ed the Sock guy. And I was thinking about it from the perspective of, where does Ed the Sock sit in my mind? Like from my days growing up, watching him on Much Music, like where exactly is he? And I'll tell you, he's not the liberal guy fighting with Theo Fleury. Like that's not where I have Ed the Sock. He's a puppet. What are you doing? And then I realized, oh, you might be part of the problem, Locke. You're following Ed the Sock and you're following Theo Fleury. And then I got a really interesting note today from the Mediterranean Chicken. And he was telling me about how he's worried about how much time he's spending on the toilet watching TikTok videos. And then I realized after reading the tweet about spending too much time on the shitter from the Mediterranean Chicken, that maybe I was reminded that again, maybe I have a problem with social media. So you're right. Like we live in a world right now where, I've said this out loud to you, but it's worth saying out loud to each other every once in a while. Like we have got to take a step back and realize that reality is it. I wish I get dragged into it every once in a while though, when I go out into a public setting, because
like but hold it. How many people, when you go to a party, how many people is it anything like social media?
No,
like when you go to a function.
But occasionally I will be at a camp, like a fire here in Alberta, and something will come up and it'll be political. And then I'll feel like I'm reading a tweet thread between Ed the Sock and then a fake Elon Musk account shows up. Like it's like the world we live in is fucking crazy right now, though. Yeah, it is. And there are moments where I get, and I know what you're trying to say, but you don't get out much, and I think that needs to be said out loud.
What the fuck are you talking about? I was out all week, dude. I golfed last week. I was out all week.
You live a very sheltered life.
No, I don't,
You're just sitting at home eating potato chips. I fucking know.
You know, I spent 5.5 weeks traveling out of the country from between May till today. Dude, I get out so much more than you. I just don't go to the pub and bury myself in chicken fingers and 15 pints.
That might be part of it, right? You don't get out and drink with people.
No,
that's okay. When you get out and you start drinking again, which is coming around the corner, I can see it. When you start drinking again, I have a feeling you're going to get into conversations that remind you of the Mediterranean Chicken, Theo Fleury, Ed the Sock thread. It's going to happen. That's the difference. When I'm out, I'm boozing. You're not.
What happened with the Ed the Sock and Theo Fleury? By the way, and let me say this. I don't dislike Ed the Sock, Steven Kersner. I don't dislike him. We've had him on the show. We've talked about doing some work together. I appreciate the things he says. I don't argue with Theo Fleury, though, for obvious reasons. It's like sort of like if, and to take a line from The Hangover, as if Tyson fought a fucking infant. So, but tell me about the argument, because I know that they both trended and they were both getting shit for giving each other shit, and they both got mocked for being in this crazy tweet thread fight, which I think is ridiculous. It's not even something I do anymore. But What was it all about? What were they arguing over?
I think it
Dinosaurs?
was the Nazi
Nazis?
thing. Yeah, I think it was. And again, I mean, we can go full circle here, right back to, the beginning of the thread we pulled at the front end of this, and I don't think you should make what happened in Parliament with bringing awareness to a Nazi in a public setting and recognizing him as some kind of a war hero. That is embarrassing, not for the liberals. That's embarrassing for this entire fucking country.
Yeah.
Like, I was so disgusted by that.
Yeah.
And somebody phoned to defend the guy, the Speaker of the House, because he lives, we got listeners right across the country of our
North
locker
Bay.
room show.
North Bay. Yeah. Kareem is up there chasing him down, him and his family.
Oh, really? And
yeah.
And he was saying the guy's a good guy, and I'm like, I don't care if he is or not. It's not defensible.
Yeah.
And the other thing that drives me crazy about politics is when you mess one job up, they just go, hey, well, what do you think about national defense? You really screwed up education. So they give you another gig. Like, that doesn't happen in the real world.
No.
If you F something up in the real world,
you get fired,
that bad,
you get canceled.
And good people get fired all the time, and they have to go rebuild. And I think that's what needs to happen here. I don't know if you're gonna
drag out. Well, I like, what I saw. It's funny because there's been like phases of processing it, and for everybody that is unaware, if you're just tuning into the podcast, by the way, you can get this on YouTube as well. Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, Crier Media on YouTube. You can also follow us at Lachlan Cross, at It's Dean Blundell, both on Twitter, and go to crier.co for all the details. But it's interesting because to bring people along to the whole story, Zelensky's in town. I had Adler on to kind of definitively talk about this yesterday, which was brilliant. And he thinks the same thing you do, the same thing I do, is that, hey, you can offer context and nuance. Obviously, it's important in the historical relationship between Ukraine, Russia, Germany, all that other bullshit. But at the end of the day, a Nazi's a Nazi's a Nazi, right? Like, and I know that, and incompetence is incompetence. And they incompetently invited a Ukraine war vet who was also a Nazi SS member, which sort of cancels everything out, right? Mm-hmm. Like, absolutely everything out. And to your point, which is something Adler and I talked about yesterday, the weaponization, the jokes, the collaring, all of it, it's like the blackface photo. Every time someone uses that word, every time someone jokes around about it, you minimize every survivor and every survivor's family from that time, every single person. And on top of it, right, on top of that, and I'm not giving excuses to anybody else, on top of it, anytime you think it's just okay to not do your homework when it comes to bringing a fucking Nazi SS member into the House of Commons for a fucking round of applause, way more than one head needs to roll. Way more. And it scares me for another reason, and I'll tell you what that is. We have that kind of incompetence running this country.
Yeah.
They can't do a fucking background check on a Nazi SS, which by the way, when you Googled Yaroslav Hunka, this is the gentleman's name, 98-year-old former Ukrainian SS member who fought against the Russians.
Grant did it on the show.
When you Google his name, his blog comes up where he admits to enthusiastically joining the Nazi SS group.
Yeah.
So
that took us on our radio program.
8 seconds.
Where we play Aerosmith, Metallica, Nickelback, Bon Jovi all morning. It took us 3 minutes to figure that out.
So you've got the people that are guarding the government secrets. You've got the people who are in charge of Canada's defense. You've got those people in charge of our money. You've got those people in charge of our healthcare.
Oh my God.
And they can't Google Yaroslav fucking Hunka.
Well, and then the other thing that makes it worse is that you got a guy traveling around the world right now trying to rally support for his country. That is being bombed by Russia.
Genocidal freaks.
Yeah. And we've got him in the House of Parliament.
When he's Jewish, by the way.
And you've got that in the same room. It's crazy. It is crazy how awful this story is
up until today.
It's so bad.
Up until today, and I've had a series of conversations about this. And I would encourage everybody to go and download Adler's podcast yesterday. We had a great conversation. He talked to David Pugliese, who's a prof in Ottawa, who went through the history of this. This is back in 1945, Canada accepted 2,000 Waffen-SS members as part of a deal with Allied forces to bring over certain Nazi officers, certain German officers, certain intellects, certain academics into our country, right? V2 bomb. The U.S. did it. They fucking built entire towns and put these Germans in it, and they called them Nazi towns, like no word of a lie. Researchers, the most important of the most important. We did the same thing. We did the exact same thing. And for us to sit here and go, we don't talk about. No. You did it. And it's a 75-year-old secret. And there are documents that are still sealed on why and how. In England, there's a big BBC thing that happened in England. I was talking to Adler about it today, too. A big BBC report back in the 80s were like, hey, what the fuck? Why did we have so many fucking former Nazis in this country? It wasn't just South America. It was Canada, United States, Peru, Colombia, all over the world. Depending on what you needed and what those German Nazi pricks knew. They just sort of farmed those guys out to different countries and just said, hey, keep a low pro. And then now we're sitting here going, how the fuck did that happen? Right? This isn't just about this last week. This is about the last 75 years and the shameful history of this country. And the shameful history of this country where it comes to sending men and women overseas to fight against those people and then giving those people, some of them, safe harbor and this beautiful life in a country which they did not fucking deserve. So there's that. And we don't talk about that. That's like the last part of the conversation that we talk about. We're just sitting here trying to find a way to gain some kind of political advantage, or we're trying to find a way to convince everybody that this government is full of Nazis, or we're trying to convince everybody that because you like that guy, you're a Nazi sympathizer too.
Yeah. Well, and that's what makes the conversation confusing, or not confusing, but difficult to have and I've been avoiding it because we've been dipping our toe into it in the mornings. I've been careful with it because I side quite heavily against our current leadership. Like I think he needs to go away.
Who, Trudeau?
I wish there was somebody so people know that about me. And I don't think like that's what this is about, right? So it's an incompetence on a whole nother level. And so I didn't want to seem disingenuous because
dude, I share your sentiment. Like, I go back to the COVID election when he made us all vote while we were super fucking sick. And he was telling us all that we shouldn't leave our house, but go vote. Go fuck yourself. This thing made me think for the first time, and not for the first time, because I don't care who the prime minister is. I really don't. We've got enough. Our institutions are strong enough to withstand any kind of fascist dictatorship or any kind of authoritarian government, no matter if they're conservative, PPC, liberal, doesn't really matter. But this is for the first time I thought to myself, you know what? He needs to go. Justin Trudeau needs to be done. He needs, and not because of the same reasons that the same mouth breathers give and have been giving all the time, that he's a baby-eating psychopath, but because that's enough. You've embarrassed us. This was enough. This was enough for me and enough for a lot of people, including a bunch of intellects, a bunch of people that side and lean left heavily, like David Moscrop, the Scrimshaws of the world, people I know and respect, academics and intellects, who said the same thing. They're like, it's over. It's over. You are, that was, and what we saw and the subsequent dealing of it, of bringing a Nazi into the House of Commons. That said, didn't say he was a Nazi. No. That told me everything we needed to know about who's in charge of our shit. And I do not want that man and these people, or any of the people on the other side of the aisle, including Pierre Poilievre, who still cannot and has not gotten security clearance because he is compromised. We are in fucking trouble as a country.
We are. Yeah,
we are in trouble. And this is the first time I'm going to say it. Is that Canadians, every single one of us, you need to be paying attention to the vacuum of stupidity, the incompetence, the gaslighting, the hatred, and the division that we see right now in politics in Canada. It's not about the Liberals. It's not about the Conservatives. It's not about the left and the right. It is about bad, dumb fucking people.
Yeah.
And we have bad, dumb fucking people that are in charge of the only two parties that stand a chance to govern you.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
And with Justin Trudeau, you can point to all kinds of shit. I don't think he's been acting like a fucking prime minister until the last 2 years because he has had to, right? Because he has had to tone it down. But he has the rhetoric that he has delivered, the idea that everybody should just fall in line and not question him. And anybody that questions him or this government is somehow anti-Canadian.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on. And then on the other side, you've got this little fucking ferret known as Pierre Poilievre running around telling everybody, be deathly afraid or else you'll all die. I'm the only guy that can save your life. Everyone's a Nazi but me. He can't even pass a fucking security clearance, because his wife's family's fucked.
I'll say this too.
And we're all sitting here going like this. It's just politics. It ain't. It's just bad fucking people. That's what it is.
And I'll say this, and I've said this out loud quite a few times, but it deserves to be said out loud. As much as I dislike Justin Trudeau, and I can't even watch him speak. I get so angry. And you know what?
You might want to. That's a you thing.
That might be a me thing. Yeah, and I might need to get some help on that. But again, I am not looking forward to him losing, because I have a feeling that we are going to get, in 2 years, 2.5 years, when we're still doing this podcast, Dean, I'm telling you right now, we are going to be sitting here having just awful conversations about the things that are happening to our country because of that man getting in power.
PP. You're talking about PP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think you kind of nailed it. It doesn't matter. This is beyond politics. We have a structural issue within politics, and we are a two-party system. As much as everybody wants to tell you there's an option, there just isn't.
Nope.
And I don't see anybody representing the middle, which 90% of the country falls into. Yeah, I keep trying to tell people, when I do make statements out loud, because I get called by awful names by both sides of the fence every day based on things I say on the show, right? And because I have an opinion from the middle, so it confuses people from both sides.
Well, it confuses people because you have the ability to reason. Like those people do not. They're like, dude, why haven't you picked a side? That's the life that we live now. What side are you on? There's Stone Child Creations in the fucking chat. He's right. There's no civility, and there is in front of people, like, on social media, there's no civility because that's the name of the game. Algorithm is don't be civil. You'll get noticed. Don't worry about it. And in real life, everybody's civil because everybody's afraid of getting punched in the face. Pretty simple shit. At least I can see it to be very simple, and nobody really wants to get into these conversations.
I mean, this isn't the first time I've disagreed with Saucy C, which I actually have her blocked on Twitter. But honestly, vote strategically. That is the worst fucking advice. Oh my God, people stop doing that. There's no such thing as voting strategically anymore, because strategically means you're just siding with one or the other. The thing we have to start doing as a society is we actually have to fucking start voting for people that haven't got a chance.
Values.
That
people with values. People that
represent,
give a shit.
Because those people don't get in.
Well, those
because
people,
what ends up happening?
Dude, but here's the thing. None of those people run because they're too smart.
Yeah. But you know what? Listen, I'm going to look for somebody that I don't care what party they are. If somebody shoots through the mess of all the politics and all the messaging and all that and says, you know what, I'm for common sense. This is what if I see even a hint of that on anybody, I will vote for them. I just hope it's not a communist party or something that's going to catch up to me down the road.
What if it is? What if you're like, I think I voted for the commies? I don't know. What if you end up voting for the Star Wars party? You're like, I just
the
really
donkey party. What was the donkey party again?
Yeah, it was like the ass party. Remember that? It was their logo was a donkey. There's that one, and then there was like the dance club party. I love that one too. It's like, if you love dance club music, we're the party for you. I'm like, I'm really close to voting for the dance club or the donkey party at this point. Really, seriously. Or the May the 4th party, like the Star Wars party. It's called May the 4th party. It's like, oh, it's just a bunch of guys that think they're Jedis. It's awesome. Like, they all believe in good things. Yeah. Problem is,
we were talking about Halloween costumes on the show this morning, and our little buddy Jedi Jimmy there, he brought up that, there's going to be a lot of people dressing up as Ahsoka, the Japanese Jedi, and both Grant and I turned on him and like, you're the only one watching that stupid show. And he's like, what? No,
I'm the only guy. Yeah, everybody goes.
He's like, it's huge. It's big.
Are you doing Halloween this year? I'm going to go as Rob Schneider. I'm going to go as Rob Schneider this year. I don't know if you saw what he did. I'll tell you.
And that's an example of extreme. Yeah. Like he's kind of a feel flurry.
This. Yeah, he's gone nuts. Totally. Rob Schneider canceled. Quote: comedian Rob Schneider. This is one of the greatest fucking headlines I've ever seen. Comedian Rob Schneider cancels trip to Canada after veteran who fought for Nazis honored in Parliament. He said he's not interested in coming to Canada because there's so many Nazis here and it's a Nazi government now, and he always knew it. And it's just this just goes to show that we're full of Nazis. That's what he said. And I put both of his fans will get refunds, and I'm sure they both will. $22.50 a ticket. That's what they were charging for the show. I did a little research into Rob Schneider's show. Apparently he didn't sell enough tickets, and so he canceled it, and he canceled it under the guise that we're just amok with Nazis up here. It's a flotilla of them. You can't get away from every street corner. There's an SS guy. That's kind of what he's trying to tell everybody, and that's what happened. That's kind of the end result. But he's also one of those guys. He's like in the same Kevin Sorbo camp of like, you can't believe anything you see unless it comes from Fox News or me, everybody. And I wonder what he's hiding too. Anyway, he's one of those guys. Back to Halloween. I'm going to go as him for Halloween.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah.
Adam Sandler gets asked about Rob Schneider all the time because Adam's put him in movies and everything like that. And you could just see Adam wanting to crawl out of his skin.
What does he say about him? I haven't been familiar with that.
Sandler doesn't say much. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, but the Rob Schneider thing came up, and I don't even remember who it was that anyway. And it was just so awkward. He was just like, you might as well slapped him. It's a friend.
I don't know what he's ever like. Other than Benchwarmers and Big Stan and a couple of little bit parts in like every Adam Sandler movie, being the exact same guy. Yeah, that guy. Boy. You can do it. He's the you can do it guy in like 10 Adam Sandler movies, and it's a cameo. How does he even have a following? He's got like 1.6 million followers. He blocked me, by the way, after I tweeted that. Totally blocked me. I got blocked by Rob Schneider. I was crushed. Really crushed.
He did that. What are those movies where he's with the big girl? Remember that? What was that one?
No. Movies with the big girl?
It's Gigolo.
Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
Yeah. He did those movies. And like Jen says, he had a bit of a run on Saturday Night Live. So he's been hanging on to that forever. I don't know if like a lot of those guys, when they lost that Saturday Night Live gig, they he has desperately tried to keep his relevance. And I think that's what he does.
Do you think a lot of people, I'm going to ask you something, because we're seeing a lot of those people that look for relevance in that movement, right? Just being the anti-person. Rob Schneider is one of them. Kevin Sorbo. I mean, it's funny how all the super washed up bit players, the guys, back to your point, to kind of tie in the people who've had traumatic things happen to them, like losing their career or not being the flavor of the day. They need someone to blame for it. Do you think that's part of this?
I think it is. I think it is for Rob Schneider. Right.
It's got to be.
I actually think, and again, I'm aware of my part in it. Those guys that get up every day and fight with people on Twitter and are just looking for something to be angry about. I actually think it's I don't know if it's diagnosed yet. Maybe somebody has already diagnosed it, but I think it's a mental illness on some level, right?
Is it, or is it the victim industry? I go back between that. Like, stupidity is for sure part of it, because you have to be stupid to think the rest of the world has it in for you, and that's the only way to explain why your life sucks. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but I think I think getting sucked into social media and
everybody repeating the same thing, like our life sucks too. It's that guy's fault. It's everybody else's fault.
But fighting, like, there are people that get up in the morning and they just go all day. Like Theo, that's mental illness, right? And again, I think it's kind of like any addiction. You can get sucked in, and if you don't have control over it, it can take over your life, right? I mean, I find myself doing it on a Saturday morning. I'll get wound up about something, and I'll, like, 2 hours later, I'll be like, what am I doing? I'm fighting with people about bike lanes.
80% of them are fake, by the way.
Well, but I think because I have a wildly addictive personality.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I was introduced to smoking, I didn't just, casually smoke. I smoked 2 packs a day. And like,
fun though too. Like, smoking is fun. You can tell me it's not. You can say it isn't, but as a vapor, someone doesn't want to vape anymore. It's only one reason I don't want to vape. I want to vape. It's because it's kind of fun. I don't know what it is. I enjoy doing it.
And again, like I said, Alan's like, just log off. It's not that easy. Like, if somebody brought cocaine around to me when it was still like, hey, this is really cool, you can stay up all night, it's not that bad for you, I probably would have been the worst cocaine head ever. Right? Like that would have I would have just
because of how you're wired, just because you're like, more is better. That's like every guy who loves to drink too. It's like, hey, listen, 3 beers is great. 7 beers is way better than 3 beers if 3 beers is great.
Well, I don't have a problem with alcohol. We've determined that over the years.
Yeah, the same dude that called me on the way into the podcast today. He's like, okay, I'm coming in. I just did my beer run to Costco. I'm like, bridge pack? You're like, no, I already went through the bridge pack. I got my next 48. Should be good for 2 weeks. And I go, 2 weeks? You're like, week and a half, then another bridge pack. Yeah. 48 beers in a week and a half. Fucking go for it. I don't see why you don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for us. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you being here. I just wanted to do a quick rip with you.
We didn't get into Swifties.
We'll do that. I know.
We'll do that.
Well, we got like 5 minutes. We'll talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce maybe tomorrow or Monday. I've never seen anything like it. And I was around when Michael Jackson was like the biggest thing on the planet. Like, and so are you. I've never seen anything like this. Never in my life.
I don't understand it.
She's so huge. Dude, Kansas City Chiefs jerseys, because she's dating Travis Kelce, went up like 1,000%. Travis Kelce jersey sold 500% premium. And on top of it, the net worth, that game that she was at, they showed her for 11 minutes. They showed the game for like 10. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I'm pretty sure if she ran for president, she'd fucking win. Just because she's Taylor Swift. Anyway,
I didn't know either. And again, I don't want to open up a can of worms we don't have time to get into. Yeah. But she has had a lot of boyfriends. And I tried to get Jimmy and Grant to give me an opinion on that this morning, and they sidestepped it. They didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, because they're afraid of the Swifties.
They're scared of the Swiffers.
Are they really?
And I think so, because they're an army.
Oh, fuck.
They'll come after you.
They're like that Korean pop group, like whatever they're called. I don't even know what they are.
Pop.
Yeah. The
K-pop,
the K-pop Korean pop guys. Yeah, they're like that big. Where it was like nobody wants to say anything about Jungkook or Blackpink or whatever the fuck they're called. Because they're like afraid of what's going to come back online. It's the same thing with Swifties, right? Like the Republican Party put out a hit piece on how Taylor Swift showed the decline of society in general because they're so afraid of her telling everybody to go vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. Anyway, we'll get to Taylor Swift another day. Thanks for doing this, dude.
She's had 18 boyfriends in 18 years.
Is that what she's had? 18 boyfriends in 18 years?
It's easy to find, too. I mean, I Googled it. I don't even know half of them, but...
Dude,
like, yeah.
There's something there. Spits them out. I know.
Dean, there's something there. And
I know. But we can't talk negatively about it because we'll just get sewered. Like, everything we'll get doxxed. We'll have, like...
I can't believe how many times
angry
I've said
girls
out
at our
loud,
front door, knocking it down, telling us they want to murder us. That's the way the Swiftie deal works.
Yeah.
I don't piss them off either. I'm more afraid of Swifties than I am of the Russian disinformation machine. That's
Me too.
The truth. Yeah, you should be.
Yeah. So it's worth a discussion. It definitely is. And by the way, no, don't send me a note. Stop it. I'm putting a stop to this. Don't try to explain Taylor Swift to me. It's not going to, like, I didn't say she wasn't talented. I didn't say she was pretty.
Incredibly
I didn't say any
talented. No, you just don't get it because you don't
get it.
The
level of
popularity
influence makes no sense. I've always been triggered by imbalance in the world. That's an imbalance in the world.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate you doing this. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother.
All right. Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. This is where you can find him at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. Every single weekday morning, he hosts a morning show in the Locker Room. It's called The Locker Room. 957 Cruise FM, great radio station, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He does the morning show with Grant and Jimmy. Please go give them a listen, ladies and gentlemen. Nice people. You can listen online. It's a great show. It's like the last good rock show in Canada. Might be one of the only ones, actually. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, thanks, Locke. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Really appreciate you taking a minute with us. Thank you. And we'll be back on Monday, I believe. Today's Thursday. No, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock right here. Go to crier.co for all the information. Anything that we do is located there, including Charles Adler's podcast. Please go and download that. And a litany of others, 140 to choose from. Everything from outdoor activities to how beautiful this country is, to your tech report, to insurance. You can go and check it out. Go to crier.co for more details today. Go to YouTube, Crier Media on YouTube. Give us a sub. Make sure you rate and subscribe. Make sure you do the same thing, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. As always, we greatly appreciate your support. We like to have fun doing kind of this stuff, but we also like to kind of explain the things that nobody seems to be able to explain. Economy of words. Even though we are wordy. Lachlan is. There's no such thing as a true story with him. Thanks to our friends at Cantork for making this possible. Go to cantork.com for more details on any bolting solution, torque wrenches, etc. They make them for every industry in the world. Cantork.com has what you need. They'll fabricate what you need, and they're located in Canada. They build torque wrenches and bolting solutions for every industry, any industry in the world. They work all over the world, but they're right here in Canada. So if you're machinery, forestry, the steel industry, railroad, nuclear, it doesn't matter, and you need a bolting solution, please go to cantork.com today. And, of course, Gitch, brought to you by the best underwear on the planet, luxury boxer briefs, pouch in the front, super breathable, can't move without these things. I swear to God, you can use them for everything. You use them to sleep in. You can run a race in them. You can lay there. And that pouch is made for Canadian men, made in Canada by Canadians. edsfineimports.com if you'd like to get a pair of Gitch. And you want a free pair, you buy 3, you get the 4th for free with promo Gitch3 at checkout. Again, Gitch, brought to you by our friends at Gitch at edsfineimports.com. Check them out today. Order a pair, swear to God, and then tell me how incredible those luxury branded boxer briefs are. Bunch of different colors, too. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.